Robert Jackson is a retired Yellowstone ranger, a legend among park supporters, and notorious among outfitters. Here are Jackson's Bigfoot experiences.
Wyoming Bigfoot. The first time I heard anything was in the mid-late 70s. An outfitter and I were riding up Fan Creek in the northwest section of the park. We heard a sound that just kept going and going. It was probably a mile away. It filled the whole valley up, kind of like 1,000 elk going to their death. I couldn't believe this thing had that much volume for that long of time.
He had never heard anything like it, neither had I. A couple of weeks later,
I was coming out from Sportsman Creek. I was on a steep side hill with horses. 40 to 50 yards below there was thick timber. The horses were flaring their noses and snorting, like they do when a grizzly bear is real close. But I could see fairly good all around and I couldn't see one. I started looking down below me. The horses were really agitated. They're wanting to get out of there. I held them, only with effort. I saw a deer at the edge of the thicket. All at once it bolted and started jarring ahead perpendicular to me. Right then, coming out the other side was this thing that was running on 2 feet. It was black like a bear and it had long arms. It ran to another thicket about 40 yards away. At this point, the creature was 75 yards downslope from me. It kept hitting these thickets trying to get away from me. I've never seen a bear do that. They'll always take a straight line. The first thing I thought was, bear, but right away I realized this black shaggy thing wasn't a bear. This thing was smart. I've never seen an animal trying to pick up protection as it fled. It wasn't that tall. Maybe 6 foot. The side of the face had a lot of fur. Most of the time it was angling away, so I only got a good look at the head for probably the first 10 steps. It looked more stocky than anything. I noticed the arms swung more than a human's would. This was no hoax. I've ridden maybe 5,000 to 7,000 miles in the backcountry on horses. You encounter a lot of bears when you do that. This thing, whatever it was, the horses looked straight down to it.
After his sighting, Jackson started asking other people if they had ever heard any unusual vocalizations.
One guy I met in the northeast section of the park, he was camped illegally. He said he heard a noise real close to him. I made him describe it. He said it was probably within 20 yards. One other outfitter heard that sound also. That would be back in early 80s for both of those. Another time, a crew examining the blister rust on pine trees in the 1970s came upon a deboned elk in the southeast corner of the park. There were really big footprints nearby. They got kind of scared and headed out. On that same trip they heard really weird noises up near Mountain Creek. In early to mid 80s, in the same drainage as Mountain Creek. We were just coming into the Howell Creek cabin near Eagle Creek Pass. We were coming in right before dark, and we heard that noise. I timed it at 26 seconds, about 300 to 400 yards beyond the cabin up the drainage. I checked the next day and couldn't find any footprints. Whatever that thing is, it didn't let up to take a breath. It's like mechanical, rhythmical, I can't even describe it. I heard no other reports of Bigfoot until 3 to 4 years ago. I was in Mountain Creek and heard this thing again. A district ranger once took a sighting from a backpacker near Boella Lake, that would have been in 70s, west of the south entrance. Apparently, this person watched one on the other side of Small Lake for 10 minutes. The ranger felt the witness was very sane.